Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our October California Broker Roundtable meeting. We have our Northern California broker, Jeff Green, and Shelley Hoyseth, Senior Loan Officer with our preferred lender Movement Mortgage with us today. Before we begin, I would just like to say how happy we are to now offer a ton of great free marketing tools to all of our agents, and this is through our partnership with agentmarketing.com. Our goal is to always give back to our agents by offering the newest tools and technology to you. None of this would be possible without you and your amazing amount of agent referrals to AJI. As Allison James continues to grow, with agents referring other agents to our brokerage, we will be able to provide more of these tools to you. And remember, you can earn a monthly or yearly residual payment simply by having an agent join us. All you need to do is contact Jeff Jabora or Alicia Aratari in our National Growth and Development Department and provide them with the contact information of the agent who you would like to refer over. And now I'm going to introduce Shelley Hoyseth. Good morning, Shelley.
Good morning, Victoria. Good morning, Allison James, California agents. I would like to introduce a new program that we just got released yesterday. It's a new jumbo product. We have a whole new jumbo line, and these are for loan amounts up to $2.5 million. They do offer up to a 90% loan to value, so they can do it with as little as 10% down, with or without mortgage insurance. It does allow for asset depletion options. So for people who are heavy on assets and not necessarily monthly income, we can use asset depletion for that. It's eligible for non-permanent resident aliens as well, and first-time home buyers. So I'm really excited about this new product line because the rates are awesome. They rival the banks, and it's something that we can take care of in-house without it taking forever going through a bank. So if you are in some of these higher priced areas, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, coastal, and you do work with high-end buyers, let me know. We've got some great products for those clients. The other thing I just wanted to mention is I am extremely proud of Movement Mortgage because we are officially the first lender in the nation to close a loan with TRID. We closed it in 10 business days, and we were the first lender to ever close one under the new TRID rules. So yay, Movement Mortgage. I'm really not that surprised, but it has been pretty much business as usual. I have a loan that was supposed to close November 9th, and we are going to close that early. We're funding and recording tomorrow. And another one that also came in on October 6th, funding and recording today. So those are, 21, 22-day closings, and with TRID. So often a lot of agents ask me, what's the best way to refer you to clients? Do you want me to just give them your card? Do you want me to have you call them? And what I find works best is if you just ask the client permission, hey, can I have my lender give you a call? She's full of great information. You can pick her brain about that and get their permission to provide their phone and email to me. And that takes the to-do list off of their plate. And I find that we're able to connect much quicker. Typically, when you just hand a card off, they next to never call because, like I said, they just get busy and they're inundated doing other things. So get their permission and I will reach out to them and get connected and get them started. We are still doing full pre-approvals before they get out shopping. So all is well, and TRID is not the end of the world. So have a great day. I am going to pass this off to Jeff. He has an extremely exciting topic today, Realtor Code of Ethics. So Jeff Green, take it away.
All right, I had a little technical glitch there, but I am live now. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the Realtor Code of Ethics and a few other things today that are of value to you as agents. So welcome to the Broker Roundtable webinar. First of all, just going to deal with a couple of nuts and bolts items. The first thing I want to point out is that and these are compliance things. Things will help you stay in good graces with your MLS and also other agents. It's very critical that the MLS status and terms and our listing agreements and contracts match. And there's a couple of things that I'm finding during file review that are getting missed. One is the dual variable commission. A lot of people aren't quite sure what that is, but that's when you say, if I list your property and then I represent the buyer, the commission will be whatever we agreed upon minus a certain amount, or it'll be, instead of the total 6%, it'll be 5 or 4, or whatever you negotiate. That has to be disclosed on the MLS. If it's not, that's an MLS violation, and it's misrepresenting to the real estate community the competitive edge that you have as a listing agent in that point, in that situation. If it's discovered, the MLS can fine you, or they can, depending on their rules, they could even censure you in some way. Another thing that needs to be disclosed, or that we need to take care of, is if you do any price changes on the MLS, don't just go in there and change the price and then you're done and you don't think about it. That's actually a modification of your contract with the client or a listing agreement with them. So a price change, either reduction or increase, needs to be accompanied by CAR form modification of terms. And you put that into the modification of terms folder and just indicate price is bam, and that's all you need. Put the price on there, have them sign it, because it's effective as of the date they sign. Another thing that's often missed is status changes. For example, sometimes a property needs to go off market for a while. The homeowner says, hey, I need a break. That needs to be in writing. If it's not, some auditor in the future or somebody looking at our files could say, hey, how come this agent took it off the market? Did they have permission from the client? Looks like they didn't. So then they can scrutinize the work you're doing. Another item is closed transactions and listings must be closed with proper documents and closed out in SkySlope. So what do we mean by that? If you withdraw a property off the MLS, you need to upload a cancellation of listing and an MLS canceled profile sheet. A lot of people confuse withdrawing the listing with temporarily off the market. For example, if your seller says, you know, why don't you go ahead and take this on as a pocket listing from this point, and you go in there and withdraw it from the MLS. Most MLSs, and it's part of the model MLS rules, deem that the listing agreement is canceled if you take it off the MLS. So if you're going to do that, there are some provisions that need to be taken care of. If you have questions, let one of us know. If it's expired on the MLS, when you close it out, make sure you upload an expired MLS sheet. Why are we asking for this? Is because it's very simple. It has to do with audits, and the BRE can randomly audit our files. Sometimes there's a complaint about another agent. It has nothing to do with you or anything we've done, but maybe you had a transaction with them and they asked for a couple of files from us because they're looking at the overall activity of that agent. You may have no guilt or be under the microscope at all, but then they pull up a file and it's missing critical things like that, and then you get pulled into some kind of audit. It's not something you want. Purchase contracts must be canceled with CAR form CC, cancellation of contract, and it also cancels the escrow. The CAR form CC will cancel the escrow. It's the only CAR form that we have that will cancel escrows. It's received pretty much universally by any escrow company. If you cancel with an addendum and give it to the escrow company, they're not going to be happy. Also, cancellation instructions from escrow are not sufficient to cancel the contract. Just a couple more nuts and bolts items before we go into our feature presentation. We want to remind you that it's critical to fill in your commission tab to avoid delay in payment. A lot of agents are so excited that payday's here that they're forgetting that there's one more step. You got to go in and fill everything in. If you are working through the process of getting paid and you're excited about a check, but we have nothing to put on the commission instructions, it will delay the process. One other item I want to mention, it's not on my notes, but we have gotten together with our corporate team. We've talked about some of the needs that agents have, and one of the particular needs that is out there is making sure that you aren't making any errors or mistakes in your online marketing. If you have a website or a Facebook presence or LinkedIn or YouTube, and with all the marketing you do and all the activities, let's just say you forget to put your license number on something, which can happen really easily. Or you put your license number on there, but you make a mistake and you invert 2 digits. You just make a typo. Do you know that you're subject to the cite and fine policy of the Bureau of Real Estate? So basically, what we're going to be doing for you guys is sending out a little survey about all your sites and your web, your web presence, and then we're going to have a team that's going to review that and make sure that you're functioning properly in terms of compliance, and we'll do broker review on those and help you avoid any problems. So look for that in your email either later today or tomorrow. And it's really exciting. I remember back when I was just working as an agent, I'd love to have had a little extra help on catching some things like that. So that's what we're here to do for you. So now let's move on to our feature presentation today, the Realtor Code of Ethics. And you might wonder, why are we talking about the Realtor Code of Ethics? Well, the Realtor Code of Ethics is a critical part of our business. It actually is the thing, it's a living document. It's been built over 100 years by real estate professionals to ensure that we operate with the highest of ethical principles. The sad reality is a lot of agents never really read the Realtor Code of Ethics, and some agents, the first time they get in trouble or the first time they read the Realtor Code of Ethics is when they get a complaint. Somebody files a complaint against them. So they're in a bad situation. Number one, they are unable to protect themselves from activities that they may have not even considered. And secondly, they miss out on the benefit of using this code to establish before their clients a higher standard of ethical behavior and show what we stand for. So let's take a look at this. The Realtor Code of Ethics, there's an article that was written by a guy named William North in 1978, and I have the link on here, and don't worry about copying that down. I'm going to have this in our notes, and it'll be on our FAQ site. But he described the Realtor Code of Ethics as a gift of vision. Now that might sound like really sloppy, feel-good kind of stuff, but the reality is what it does is it portrays the vision of our professional association and what we stand for. It's something that will cause you to have leverage in your conversations, as well as give people the ability to understand that you function on a higher standard than, say, somebody that's selling them a car or maybe a real estate professional that's not a realtor. So let's talk about where this came about. The code was adopted in 1913 by a small group of real estate professionals, and I'm giving you a little highlight of this article that was written by William North, and the links there, you can get to it and take a look at it at your leisure. But this code was adopted in 1913. Before the code, real estate was full of exploitation, disorder, chaos, people just manipulating. It was a time of buyer beware to the max. And real estate agents, if they were licensed at all, had peddler's licenses, the same thing that snake oil people had. So it was a very different world, and a group of people got together and they said, we want to do this differently. The great thing about this code of ethics is the government didn't force the code on agents. The agents themselves created it. So what is the code? Why is it significant? First of all, it guides those that subscribe to it. It is actually our guiding pattern for professional activity. It's also what guides the national, state, and local associations of realtors. And it's the basis for a national constituency of local agents and boards. So what this does is it provides to us not only, as I said earlier, a leveraged means of communicating to those around us that we are operating at a higher standard, it gives our organization the ability to police ourselves, to make sure that the people you're associated with should be acting in good faith, treating you right, treating the clients right. And we'll talk about that in just a couple minutes. And it also gives continuity across our nation. If you meet a realtor in California or a realtor in Florida, they're all governed by this code. So when you refer business, it works like that. You can refer with confidence when you're referring to a realtor. So let's talk about the law. The code of ethics is never opposed to the law. It's not something that's superior. It's not something that controls what goes on in the legal world. But it's something that's construed harmoniously and consistently with the law. What we mean by that is that it's really, in a sense, a higher standard. If you follow the code of ethics, you probably won't have much trouble with the law if you stay within the code. The code is not the law. It's supported not by the coercive power of the state, but by the principles of the contract. So we don't have policemen coming around and saying, you broke the code of ethics. It's a professional compact. So if you do break the code of ethics, you will be judged by a group of your peers, fellow realtors, and there are penalties. One of the worst penalties of breaking the code of ethics is not being allowed to practice real estate as a realtor. The relationship of the code to the law is twofold. Basically, the code defines those duties and obligations required in the public interest which are beyond the capacity or power of the law to mandate. And there's an old saying, ethics goes beyond the law. This is where the code kicks in. It takes us above the law. So the thing is, you can obey the law and still be unethical, and a lot of people do. The code takes us to a place where we not only obey the law, but we function at a higher level of ethics than even what the law requires. Secondly, the code supports the law by requiring a higher sensitivity to the duties and obligations of which it imposes. So, how should the code be used? It needs to be applied consistently, which means boards and associations need to really apply it fairly and without any prejudice, and there's provisions in there for that. It's also a procedural application using due process. It's not something that's just tacked on you. If you do something wrong, you have an opportunity to respond and go through a process of a hearing. And in the code itself, it mentions the golden rule: doing to others as you'd have them do to you. That's really the basis, the primary philosophical basis of the code. So, how is this code structured? First of all, there's a preamble which gives the basis and philosophical understanding of what we do as realtors. It talks about the value of land and the amazing things that we do by helping commerce, and the fact that we have to be a people of high standards. And then the next section is the articles. The articles are broken down into three categories. Articles 1 through 9 is duties to clients and customers, and it spells out some very important things like avoiding exaggeration and protecting our clients' interests and all this. We're not going to go through point by point. I think, in about 10 minutes you can read the whole thing. The next is duties to the public. How we deal with the general public relates to advertising and our image in the community. So it's a very, very broad set of parameters it guides us in to make sure that we are representing ourselves properly and honestly. Then Articles 15 through 17 talks about duties of realtors to each other. How do we approach each other and what we do to operate in fairness and integrity? And then beneath each of these articles are numerous standards of practice which explain the concept in the article and bring more application to it. So that's how it's structured. So to kind of wrap this up before we go into some questions, what we're going to do is we're going to have this on our FAQ site. The actual code and the standards will be there at the first link. There's actually a video series which is really good. I've watched several of them where they're about 10 minutes long and they explain the code of ethics. They're good for realtors to watch. They're also good for your client. Let's just say you get a client and they're a little difficult. You may say, well, how do I know you're going to be honest? How do I know that you're going to not exaggerate or push me to buy a house? There's a video on each one of these articles. You can actually take that video, watch it, make sure you watch it yourself because they might have questions, send it to your client and say, hey, look, this is what we stand for. We're not going to, our goal is to not mistreat you, but on the contrary, to function as a fiduciary for you, so fiduciary duty. And then the final link is a poster that you can put up on the wall if you're interested. If you have an office area in your house or you keep an office somewhere, it's kind of nice for people to look at and see exactly what we stand for. So that's kind of a wrap there. Do we have any questions today?
I don't see any yet. If you do have questions, please type those into the questions box so we will be able to see them.
All right. Well, I don't hear anybody typing, but I guess I wouldn't.
I think we're all set.
All right, well, everyone, look for that survey about your online marketing, and we're going to help you. As I said, we're going to help you become aware of any errors or glitches, because we live in a day where, there's a lot more scrutiny. The BRE now operates with a cite and fine policy, which means they issue a citation. If you want to fight it, you've got to work to prove yourself innocent. It's much like how OSHA works. They can just walk in and cite you. This goes for things like business cards, and it's per occurrence. So if you have 10 business cards that don't have your license number on them and somebody mails them to the BRE and files a complaint, that's 10 citations. I've never heard of them doing this at this level, but I know they can cite up to $2,500 per infraction. So things like this could get real expensive real quickly, and we're not trying to scare anyone, but we just want to help you be in a place where you can really focus on the main thing, which is your business and growing and working together with clients. So look for that email later today or tomorrow, and have a great week.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Jeff. Have a great day.